told them in the locker room, just the maturity, their approach this whole week. I thought we had a good week of practice. They were excited to play at home and, really having an opponent where, the first one at our place. So their approach through the week was really pleased with the preparation, and then it played out in the game. I mean, these guys didn't give them an inch. Started fast, defensively flying around, made some explosive plays offensively, and kind of went on from there. So really pleased, and on to the next.
Jonathan, you were pretty high on this defensive front going into the season. What have these first two games done to validate what you thought about them?
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job with the line of scrimmage. It all starts there, opening things up. Sometimes they're not making all the tackles, but opening things up for the linebackers behind them. We're rotating a few guys in there, make a difference. I think we've affected the passer for 2 weeks here, and so they've done a nice job.
Obviously, this was an FCS team, but what particularly impressed you about the defensive performance tonight?
Well, there's some schematics that UC Davis does at a high level that challenge you. Defensively, you got to be on your keys and eyes in the right spot and formations. I mean, you saw some of the stuff. They didn't have 5 O-linemen sitting there. They're splitting out with some different looks for you. So I was really pleased with the discipline they played with.
Throughout your career here, when you guys play an FCS team, you guys have pretty much taken care of them in the first half every time. Is there something that you learned before you came here about preparing for a tournament like this that is kind of resonated with the team?
I think we try to have the same approach week in and week out. We talk about a lot of the process and what we do Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and I think there's belief in that process. And now, these last few years, we've got great leadership. It doesn't take a lot from the coaches to do this team well.
Coach, you've talked about it all fall camp, this day, being back at Research Stadium, the completed West Side, seeing Beaver Nation show up. What was that first moment for you like, just being back into the stadium and then seeing Easton, of course, get that pick and then Damien turn it right back around and run it 64 yards to the house and the crowd just roars with the excitement. What was that moment like for you as a coach?
Yeah, it means a ton of fun to get out there and have that energy, the atmosphere, all the lead up and all the hard work that has gotten us to this point. And then, we started fast as a team for the crowd, got them into it from the get-go, so it was special.
Do you think this is the most electric you've seen Research Stadium here in your career? Where does this one rank in the repertoire?
Tough to say. I've been around this place. It's been pretty electric. I think there was great energy. It just felt like a lot of movement going on. You could just feel the crowd kind of walking around Beaver Street, and that obviously pretty locked in on the game itself. But it's always awesome when we get our home crowd behind us.
Jonathan, was Gould hurt?
He was. Yep, not long term. And we're pretty optimistic about next week.
What'd you think of Bolden?
Yeah, the guy's great when he gets the ball in his hands, man. I do think they blocked him pretty well on the punt return, blocked him pretty well for him to get that edge, and then once he's got an edge, he's going to go.
We got to see a little bit of Aiden Childs tonight again. Just what do you like seeing from him? How is he growing maybe from last week to this week, just with the amount of experience he's able to get in these games when you're starting to take care of business?
Yeah, it's been awesome for him to get in there. I think he's functioned really, really well with his arm, with his decision making, with his feet creating. The moment's not too big for him. He understands completely what we're doing offensively. Thought he was accurate for the most part with the ball, so a lot to like. And the more experience he gets, the better he gets.
DJ runs the ball also. It's like a different threat we've got this year. How much is that helping the Beavers with having that ability?
Yeah, he can move, and he's tough to tackle. He's been effective red zone, short yardage, some calls. We opened up a quarterback draw last week on third down. We opened up the 2-minute drive this week, another quarterback draw. So we want to use his athleticism and strength schematically.
Rhea, first touchdown pass of his career. What's it like to see a guy that's been around a long time get that kind of reward on the field?
Yeah, Ray has an awesome story. He's been here the whole time since I've been here. Continues to work. You talk about an ultimate team player, contributes on special teams. You're right. Hadn't been catching a lot of touchdowns, but he's been here and contributing. So that was fun to see him get in the end zone.
Back on defense again. Anyone on the reserves tonight really kind of catch your eye as somebody that maybe you need to take a longer look at in these next coming weeks?
I thought Melvin Jordan did a good job. He didn't start the game, but played quite a bit. And I don't have the stats in front of me, but he was around the ball and really did some good things. It's great that Jamar McCoy gets in and challenges out at corner, and he played quite a bit, so those two stand out to me.
55-7 game, probably a lot to like. I mean, was there really anything to nitpick in this thing? Like maybe the 2-minute offense? I don't know. Is there anything other than that?
That comes to mind pretty quick. Yeah, we wanted to be able to function, get some reps at that with the clock and all that. That didn't go well. I'm sure we're going to turn on this tape and we're going to find a bunch that wasn't great. And so that's how it is. You go and win, lose, or draw. You come the next day, watch this tape, and find ways to improve.
Jonathan, talking to you and then Coach Linger and Coach Bray this week, it really seemed like you guys were kind of harping on some of the minor details that could grow into something bigger later. Do you feel like you cleaned most of those up this week?
I think it showed up a little on, I thought our tackles were solid again, but our eyes were right throughout this game, which was an awesome thing to think about defensively. I thought our penalty count was down. Again, we're not trying to play penalty free. That's not the goal. But 9 was a little high in week 1, so awesome job by these guys getting that down.
Coach, last week you talked about how quickly kind of the game clock was moving, only 4 drives in that first half against San Jose State. This week, night and day, it seemed like difference. I'm not sure how many drives you guys had, but I know it was a lot more, and you guys were moving a lot faster when your offense was back on the field. Do you feel like that's the type of style you guys want to play moving forward with these kind of game clock changes, or was just this kind of a one-time experience?
Well, this game, we just had some really explosive plays offensively. One play, touchdown, turn around, you're going to get another possession. I thought defense got off the field. That first drive they carried a couple first downs, but then seemed like a few 3-and-outs right in a row. So, each game's going to be a little bit different, but the explosive play or the lack of explosion you give up defensively is a big factor.
We've not seen Goldbertson in either of the first 2 games. Was there any thought to using him tonight?
We love Ben. He's totally ready to go in there and play. Just felt like the value of the turns experience for Aiden was the kind of deciding factor today.
We talked to some of the players about kind of when you use a lot of the depth chart and they're kind of on the sidelines acting more so as coaches. What is it kind of like to have them as kind of addition, like when you go into the huddles as kind of part of the coaching staff, knowing that they kind of did their job, but now it's their job to make sure that the guys that are under them go in and take care of business as well?
Yeah, it's fun to see them because, again, these guys that maybe don't start but got into this game, they work really hard, and so the veterans helping them out on the sideline, maybe a little coaching, but it's a lot of just encouragement, cheering for them. They're excited when they make a play.
Great, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.